Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are stirring the pot this offseason, and if you're a fan, buckle up, because things are about to get spicy in South Beach. One of the hottest talking points around the league has been the future of all-pro cornerback Jaylen Ramsey, who might not be wearing aqua and orange much longer. Dolphins general manager Chris Grier hasn't exactly shut down the trade rumors either. In fact, he poured gasoline on the fire by acknowledging the team is exploring options. And that means one thing. Changes are coming fast to the Dolphins' cornerback room. If Ramsey is on his way out, Miami can't afford to sit on their hands. They need veteran help, and they need it now. That's where the buzz about Stephon Gilmore comes in. This isn't just another name being tossed around. We're talking about a seasoned vet, a former Defensive Player of the Year, someone who could instantly stabilize a shaky unit. Enter Brian Baldinger, the sharp-eyed NFL insider known for breaking down tape like nobody else. On a recent segment on NFL Network, Baldinger had a clear message for Miami's front office: go get Stephon Gilmore. And honestly, the logic behind that suggestion is solid. Gilmore is still a productive corner, even at 34 years old, and he brings more than just physical talent. He brings leadership, poise, and big game experience. It seems like Stephon Gilmore going to South Beach, that's good for an older guy, Baldinger said, and he's not wrong. The Florida Sunshine might just be the perfect final chapter in Gilmore's storied career. Let's not forget, Gilmore doesn't need to be an all-pro anymore. He just needs to be better than what Miami currently has, and looking at that roster, the bar isn't exactly sky-high outside of Ramsey. Now, if Ramsey gets traded, and let's be real, that seems more likely with each passing day, the Dolphins are in deep trouble unless they make a move. Right now, the guys slated to step up are Storm Duck, Cam Smith, and rookie Jason Marshall Jr. That's not a typo, folks. That's the actual cornerback depth chart we're looking at. Duck isn't proven. Smith hasn't taken that next step, and while Marshall Jr. could develop into a solid player, he's a fifth-round rookie. That's not a starting caliber group in a league dominated by elite quarterbacks and explosive passing attacks. Miami isn't rebuilding, they're in win-now mode. They've got Tua Tagovailoa throwing to Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. The offense is ready to roll. But if they're serious about contending, the defense can't be a liability, especially not in the secondary. That's what makes Gilmore such a sensible fit. He won't cost much, and he brings instant credibility to a group that desperately needs it. Plus, the guy's resume speaks for itself. 5 Pro Bowl nods, 2 first-team All-Pro selections, and that Defensive Player of the Year award in 2019 when he was locking people up in New England. Across 13 seasons, Gilmore has tallied 32 interceptions in 180 games. That's the kind of production and experience you can't teach. You want a guy who's been in the trenches, who's faced the best and held his own. That's Stephon Gilmore. And Baldinger is betting that he could still play meaningful snaps for a contender. I feel like Stephon could fit in down there and play well for them right now, he added. And it's hard to argue with that. Let's talk scheme for a second. Miami's defense under new leadership is expected to lean on experience and football IQ. They're transitioning away from the blitz-heavy chaos of recent years to a more controlled, matchup-based approach. Gilmore thrives in that system. He's not going to outrun guys like he used to, but put him in the right position, and he'll still make plays. He's savvy. He knows how to bait quarterbacks, read formations, and anticipate routes. You pair him with someone like Xavier Howard, if they keep him, or a promising rookie who can learn from him, and suddenly you've got something to build on. Miami's coaching staff needs that kind of stabilizing presence in a room that's looking more like a college secondary than an NFL playoff contender right now. And here's the kicker. Signing Gilmore would give the Dolphins a ridiculous edge within the AFC East. If it happens, 3 out of the 4 teams in the division will have had Gilmore on their roster at some point, with the Jets being the odd man out. It's poetic in a way. Gilmore started his career with the Bills, became a superstar with the Patriots, and now, he could be the missing piece in Miami. That kind of familiarity with the division is gold. He knows the tendencies of Josh Allen. He's seen what the Patriots do schematically, and he wouldn't be rattled by the big games or primetime lights. He's been there. He's done that. And with the Dolphins trying to take that next step, his presence could be the difference between just making the playoffs and actually making noise. You also have to consider the economics. Gilmore isn't going to demand top dollar at this stage in his career. That makes this move not just smart football-wise, but financially sound too. You don't have to break the bank to get a quality starter. Miami's cap space is tight, and they're still working through some big deals, Tua's future contract, Hill's price tag, and more. So bringing in a low-cost, high-upside veteran is exactly the type of move that championship teams make. It's the classic buy low, win high scenario. If they can structure the deal creatively, they could bring Gilmore in with incentives, bonuses, and a short-term outlook that benefits everyone involved. Let's not forget the intangibles. Gilmore is a leader, a pro's pro. He sets the tone in the locker room, helps young guys learn the ropes, and plays the game the right way. That kind of presence is invaluable, especially when you're integrating rookies and second-year players into major roles. Miami has a young core on both sides of the ball, and while talent is important, mentorship is what helps teams grow. Gilmore could be that steadying force, that veteran who steps in when the game's on the line and makes a play, not just on the field, but in the minds of those around him. That's what you want if you're serious about building a contender, not just a highlight reel team. So where does this leave the Dolphins? Well, they're at a fork in the road. If they move Ramsey, they have to bring in someone who can match at least part of his impact. The window to compete is now, not 2 or 3 years from now. This roster isn't built to tank or tread water. It's built to win. And with the AFC East becoming an arms race, they can't afford to fall behind. Adding Gilmore is a strategic move that shores up a glaring weakness without creating another one elsewhere. It's not flashy. It won't sell jerseys. But it's the kind of smart, calculated football decision that could keep Miami in the hunt come January. So Dolphins fans, stay alert. If Ramsey does get traded, expect the Gilmore rumors to heat up fast. This isn't just speculation. It's a move that makes perfect sense from every angle: fit, experience, cost, and leadership. And if Miami's front office is paying attention, they'll know that locking down a guy like Gilmore could be the difference between another year of almost and a legitimate shot at something special. Time will tell, but in the NFL, you don't get many chances. The Dolphins have one now. Let's see if they're bold enough to take it. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? It's chaos in Miami, folks. The kind of storm you don't see coming in the sunny skies of South Beach. The Dolphins, once a high-flying, highlight reel offense that had fans dreaming of Super Bowl confetti, are now caught in the middle of a shocking internal conflict. And it's not just any disagreement. We're talking about a full-blown feud between two of the most electric wide receivers in the NFL, Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Yep, you heard that right. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah himself, has reportedly told the Dolphins brass and even let it slip to the media that he will not line up alongside Jaylen Waddle anymore. Not in practice, not in games, not in a Dolphins jersey. This isn't a minor locker room spat or a heated moment during a game. This is deeper, personal, and possibly the beginning of the end for this dynamic duo. Now, before you write this off as a heat-of-the-moment outburst, let's rewind. Just last season, Hill and Waddle were one of the most lethal WR duos in the league. They lit up the stat sheet, torched secondaries, and made Tua Tagovailoa look like a legitimate MVP candidate for stretches. Fans were hyped, defenses were terrified, and the Dolphins had that it factor. So what changed? Sources close to the team say the tension has been simmering since late last season. It wasn't just about touches or targets. It was about respect, leadership, and ego. Word is, Hill started feeling like Waddle was stepping on his turf, both figuratively and literally. In team meetings, Waddle grew more vocal. On the field, he started demanding more looks. And that didn't sit well with Tyreek, who's used to being the undisputed alpha. This isn't the first time Tyreek has found himself in the middle of controversy. Let's be honest, he's a generational talent, but he's also got a personality that doesn't exactly fade into the background. You don't get the nickname Cheetah just for your speed. It's also about the attitude, the intensity, the relentless energy. But sometimes, that fire burns too hot. And when you put two fireballs in the same locker room, it's bound to explode. Jaylen Waddle, on the other hand, has always been the quieter assassin. Cool, calm, collected. Until recently. As his star rose, so did his confidence. And maybe, just maybe, he felt like it was time for the torch to be passed. or at least shared. But Tyreek? He wasn't having any of it. The moment that reportedly pushed things over the edge came during an off-season training session. Tyreek, always the showman, cracked a joke about being the only WR1 in this building. Waddle didn't laugh. He fired back, calmly, but clearly, noting his own stats, his impact, and that he wasn't anyone's backup. What followed was an icy silence, a few tense practices, and then, boom, Tyreek's bombshell statement. I'm done lining up next to Waddle. No clarification, no backpedaling. Just that. Boom. And just like that, the Dolphins found themselves in crisis mode. You lose one of them, your offense changes. You lose both, you're rebuilding. And Miami is not in rebuild mode. Not with this roster, not with this payroll. The Dolphins front office is reportedly scrambling. Imagine being Mike McDaniel right now. You've built an offense around speed, synchronicity, and swagger, and now your two best weapons are at each other's throats. Do you side with the seasoned vet who still burns defenders at will? Or do you back the younger, rising star who might be the future face of the franchise? It's a lose-lose if you can't mend the relationship. Reports say team leaders, including Tua, have tried to step in and calm the waters. But according to insiders, the trust is broken. Hill sees Waddle as ungrateful. Waddle sees Hill as insecure. And neither is backing down. Fans are torn, too. Social media is ablaze. Hashtag Team Hill versus hashtag Team Waddle. Some say Hill brought the swagger back to Miami and deserves that WR1 respect until he's ready to hang it up. Others argue that Waddle's growth and maturity have earned him a seat at the big boy table, and that Tyreek's ego is the real issue here. Meanwhile, the Dolphins' season hangs in the balance. Because, let's be real, this team can't afford to have one of its best playmakers riding the bench, or worse, traded, because of a personality clash. The AFC is stacked. You think Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, or Lamar are going to wait around while Miami figures out its locker room drama? No chance. And don't forget the business side. Tyreek Hill is on a massive contract. Moving him isn't just a football decision, it's a financial nightmare. Waddle, on the other hand, is still on a rookie deal but will be up for an extension soon. If the front office sees him as the long-term piece, they might choose to part ways with Tyreek sooner than anyone thought. That would have sounded insane a few months ago. But now, not so crazy. This isn't about just two players, it's about identity. What kind of team is Miami trying to be? A veteran-led contender with a chip on its shoulder? Or a young, evolving squad that's looking ahead? Here's where it gets even messier. Trade rumors are already starting. The second Hill's comments hit the press, teams began circling. You think the Ravens, Chiefs, or even the Cowboys wouldn't take a flyer on Tyreek if the Dolphins make him available? Of course they would. He's still a game changer. But what would Miami get in return? Draft picks? Another receiver? A defensive piece? And what kind of message does that send to the locker room? That if you push hard enough, you get your way? Or that the team won't tolerate internal conflict, no matter who you are? Either way, it's a massive gamble. This whole situation is a masterclass in how quickly things can fall apart in the NFL. 1 minute, you're being called the next greatest show on turf. The next, your top stars can't even make eye contact in the locker room. And the timing couldn't be worse. OTAs are around the corner, and every day this rift goes unresolved is a day of missed chemistry, missed reps, and more media drama. You think opposing corners aren't watching this unfold with glee? You think the Patriots or Bills won't use this to their advantage? Distraction is a weapon in this league, and right now, Miami is wide open. So what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Does Tyreek walk it back? Does Waddle offer an olive branch? Or does one of them pack their bags and leave South Beach for good? If you're a Dolphins fan, you're holding your breath. If you're a rival, you're licking your chops. And if you're a neutral fan, you're just grabbing popcorn. Because this right here, this drama, this fallout, this unexpected twist is why we love the NFL. It's not just about the plays on the field. It's about the personalities, the rivalries, the stories. And right now, the biggest story in football isn't about touchdowns. It's about trust. And in Miami, that trust has been shattered. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.